Everybody, we are back today with Brandy of Brandygirl Tarot and Astrology. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. And we are going to be talking today about Amy Bradley missing, her disappearance off of the Rhapsody of the Seas cruise ship. I don't know if it's called cruise liner or cruise ship. On March 24th of 1998. This case is very old. And it's interesting. I remember watching. Did you ever watch Forensic Files?
I have. I watch so much true crime though that sometimes I can't remember what I've seen. Like, and that sounds terrible, but
No, this was a show. I mean, yeah, me too, but this was like one where like I would watch that show a lot. And I remember first seeing her story on there like maybe 15 years ago. And it really stuck out. And it's just for some reason, I remember when we started doing these like a couple years back, I remember thinking about this case and thinking, oh, we should look at it. And then I don't know, we just never did. And then the documentary on Netflix comes out.
new documentary. I haven't seen it yet. Like, I don't know why I haven't seen it yet.
And I'll be honest, I've only seen episode one, but it is something that I've read about, in the past. And like I said, watch a Forensic Files episode about. So, but this comes out and I'm like, okay, so now is the time. Maybe,
Now's the time. It's appropriate.
yeah, it's the appropriate time. Maybe this is why in the past we didn't do it, even though it had been on my radar. Anyway, a little backstory for anybody who's not familiar with this. I'm going to read from my notes. She disappeared on March 24th of 1998 on the Rhapsody of the Seas. This was shortly before, and I hope I pronounce this right. This was shortly before the ship was docking into Curacao. I think I pronounced that right. I'm shit at pronouncing things. Um, it was gonna dock there that day so people could get off the ship and check the place out, all of that. Um, so she goes missing. Now, the last time she was recorded, picked up as a verified time, last time seen or last time recorded, was 3:40 a.m. on March 24th of 1998. She was coming back from the club. Uh, she'd been dancing and stuff like that, been out partying. Um, gets home gets not home, but gets back to the cabin at 3:40 a.m. Her brother is following. Actually, he showed up, I think, 5 minutes before she did. But the door lock system records 3:40 a.m. Her card is going into the room. Now, there are other times, right? There are other times that are mentioned, but well, okay, so she and her brother are outside on the balcony. She's smoking. I don't know if he smokes. They're hanging out, whatever. And then around sometime between 5:15 and 5:30 a.m., her dad wakes up, sees her. It sounds like the way that he picked her, like saw her, she was kind of angled in like a way where he saw her legs, he saw her hips, but he didn't see the rest of her. But he thought she was out there sleeping or whatever, passed out, falling asleep, maybe just having a cigarette, whatever. So he goes back to sleep. And then around 6 a.m., he wakes up, realizes that she's not on the balcony anymore. She's not in the cabin, thinks maybe she's going to have a cup of coffee or whatever in the common areas, goes and looks for her, realizes she's nowhere to be found, wakes the family up, mom and brother also in the room. They were all in the same cabin, trying to look for her. Nobody has seen her since. There are lots of theories about what happened to her. There are theories about her having fallen overboard. I've seen theories where, maybe she had too much she had been drinking that night. Maybe she had too much to drink, you know, puking over the railing and fall overboard. That's one theory, something like that. Another one is that she jumped. Then there are theories about her having left the boat, whether that it was on her own volition or not, because the boat was about to dock. I think the boat actually docked at 7 a.m. Passengers started getting off. They didn't make the announcement that she was missing until 7:50 a.m. after many people had already left. They didn't make it earlier. I guess that the family went to go tell whoever that she was missing at 7, around 7, and they didn't want to make the announcement because they felt like it was too early. It would have been intrusive. So they didn't make it until I have 7:50, but I actually feel like it may have been shortly before then. They made it though out a few like an hour or two after she'd been missing. And people had already gotten off the ship for the day. They waited until 12:15 p.m. to do a thorough search of the ship. There was, also that it seemed, and this is something that I don't quite understand. Maybe other episodes in the documentary explain this, but somebody goes missing, you can't find them. You want to preserve evidence, and I realize, she's 23 years old, right? She has every right to not be found, like she does. If she don't want to be found, she didn't have to be. But, by the time the FBI agents were able to get onto the ship, the room had already been cleaned.
Oof.
Stuff had already been arranged, like any kind of evidence of anything. And I'm not saying there was any foul play with the family. I don't mean it like that. But I mean like anything from even her time out on the balcony before whatever happened next, like it was all gone by that point. So
Right.
I wonder if now they have anything in place where if anything fucky like this happens on cruise ships, they remove the people from the room and preserve the room. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we're going to move you all somewhere else for now. We're going to not touch anything until law enforcement, whoever that might be, can get on and check it out. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but so this is pretty much the whole. There are other things that we'll mention, as this
Theory.
goes on, other theories, but
Yeah.
there are quite a few. And, I got to say, this one is interesting to me because I remember when when I first watched this on, Forensic Files years ago, I thought, well, she must have fallen or jumped, right? And that was and then I start, I look at the charts and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Which kind of surprised me. Should we pull them?
Let's dive in. No, sorry. Bad choice of words.
Oh,
Let's look at the astrology. I really meant no disrespect. That's what I always say.
no, I know, I know. No, I'm not trying to be an asshole by laughing, but I mean, it's
I always say the wrong thing. It's the curse of being an air sign.
nobody jump our ass for that. We didn't mean anything by
I
it.
really didn't. Watch other episodes. I say that every time. Okay.
Okay, so this is the chart for when she was recorded entering the room. We are I have the other charts. I don't really think they're necessary to pull just because this is the one time that we know she was last recorded.
Yes. It's verified.
Verified. And we'll also be doing some mapping too. We'll be pulling out scribble maps, the delightful scribble maps.
Yes.
Okay, so we are working with an Aquarius Ascendant, 10 degrees, 47 minutes Aquarius Ascendant, which is her, but she is also Saturn in the 3rd house in Aries, along with Uranus in the 11th house in Aquarius. She is both because well, I mean, I guess I know typically in forensic criminal astrology we look at the traditional ruler, but I always like to throw the modern in too.
I think we should look at both.
Especially with this being right up the moon's ass.
Right there. And the moon is freaking right on the ascendant. Like, which, I mean, just astrology always reflects, right? It shows she's on her turf. She's at, quote, home. It's not her home, but like on the ship, her home,
She's in a place where she is, quote, supposed to be. She is, well, I don't know how comfortable Aquarius energy is, but she's in her domain.
Mm-hmm.
With the moon being co-ruler. Oh, and I want to point something else out. For anybody looking at this, you'll notice that I have this set to Venezuela. The reason for that is on Astrogold, I could not find Curacao. I couldn't find.
Really?
Nope, I couldn't find Aruba. So I was like, what the fuck is the closest place that they have? And it was here. So that's why it's set to that. I just want so if anybody's like, why do you have that set to Venezuela? That's why.
The closest we could get.
Yeah, it's the closest we could get. So So yeah, we have that going on. And then we have, the seventh house, which would represent it would represent the perpetrator or the catalyst or whatever to what's going on. That is at 10 degrees, 47 minutes of Leo. With the sun in Aries in the second house.
Hmm.
What do we think about all of these things?
Initial thoughts. This is not the chart you would typically see on someone who has um maybe an accidental drowning or, an accident. I mean, I know Uranus is right there in the first house on the moon, but
Mhm.
this doesn't like, okay, I could go all sorts of directions here. There's so much going on. Um, First of all, like if I'm looking at the planet ruling her, which is Saturn traditionally in Aries, it's in a fall. So she's not placed well. The sun being the seventh house ruler, also in the same sign and exalted, in the second house, which you can usually see like in criminal charts. There's something about an abduction or taking possession of aspect because the second house is possessions.
That's what I was to me this yeah, when I saw this I was like that's very interesting that it's in the second house of this chart. Um
Hmm.
Almost like yeah, like taking ownership. I mean, this is exalted so that assuming there's a perpetrator, right? That they're exaggerated, they are well placed whereas she is not.
No, she's in a third house too,
Meant
I'm sorry, what was that?
being on the move.
Yeah, being on the move, being on the ship. Could also talk about a neighboring area, you know. So she's on the move though. So yeah, this just to me, like some of the theories out there are falling off a ship. Maybe I know there was one about suicide, like that. This just doesn't look like that for
Another
me.
another thing about the suicide angle that doesn't look right to me with this is the fact that we have right we have both rulers of the ascendant, both her, both dispositors for her essentially
Hmm.
are making a contact with that sun and applying aspect. We've got this sun applying with an applying sextile with
Hmm.
Uranus and with the moon, also the co-ruler, right?
Right.
And then we have it also applying in a conjunction with Saturn. Now, so we've got it making contacts. It was like I don't know. It's like I don't know if I buy with those contacts. I don't know if I buy that this is even. You know what I mean? There's
No, they're making contact. They're applying too, meaning something's going to happen. Because remember, this is at 3:40 when she's coming up to her room. So we know there's some element of her being safe at this moment. So it's applying, something's going to happen. But if you notice, Pluto is at 8 degrees Sagittarius. And so, the sun is going to make aspect to that before it makes aspect to Uranus and the moon. So Pluto is interfering here. And so there's something of, and Pluto's like violence, in a criminal
yeah.
chart when we're looking at this. So it shows, okay, something's going to happen. And then, so this is a very uncomfortable chart as far as like what's going to happen to her.
And
And,
not
oh, Pluto's also sex too, because I know there's some human trafficking theories out there too.
yes, there are. And yes, that and also, I mean, not only the interference here, but also the interference with these two. Like these, right?
Oof.
It's gonna hit these two, the conjunction with these two before it hits it's like and I mean Mars also, if we want to bring the sex thing into play, Mars can also
Mm-hmm.
be sex too.
Yep.
Mm. Well, I know I'm kind of in our messages back and forth. I was kind of harping on on these two. Um,
Yeah. Anytime you got a planet between the two malefics, Mars and Saturn, that's very poorly placed. And so, what is Mercury in this chart? Because there's definitely like arrows pointing like I mean, at really Mercury and Mars because they're sandwiched in between the rulers of the victim and a possible perpetrator. But Mercury, more than any of them, gets my attention here,
Mercury would be the ruler of the fifth house and the eighth house in this chart.
which are both sex houses.
Yep, they are.
And Mercury's also too like a vehicle, like something in movement, but yeah, that's concerning because I feel like, the fact that it's showing up between these planets sandwiched in, with Mars is just might be showing a motive here.
Yeah. And another thought that I had, it's okay. So, like, if it's almost like being, tell me if does this sound off base, almost like being passed off.
Mhm.
There is
Yeah,
something
going through this person, then maybe this person, then
there is something about this and even this, right? That it making the contact. Yeah, there just is. There's something about it to me that stands out as like
so from what I was reading, she had been with a member of the band that was playing at the club or whatever you would call it.
yes.
Um, do you know, and not that this matters, I'm just curious if any of these band members would know people in Curacao, but like, were they Americans? Were they from somewhere else? I don't, or
I
maybe were they familiar with just people in this country?
I don't think I don't I could be wrong. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Anybody watching this, I don't believe they were American. I don't believe they were. And I don't believe they were. I'm not sure if they were from I'm not sure specifically she was seen dancing with the I believe he was the bassist before then that night.
And
Uh
he was looked at because they gave him a polygraph, if I understand
was
correctly.
inconclusive.
Ah,
It was inconclusive. That I did see in the first episode of the documentary. That was inconclusive. Um
now I'm not saying anyone did it. I'm always careful in these, but like, let's
yeah.
talk about musicians for a minute. And I love musicians. I'm married to one. Like, I love music, but okay, let's just say what if a musician was responsible and the perpetrator, I could totally see them as being a sun in Aries or even a sun in Leo. You know what I mean? Like that's classic zodiac signs for something like a performer.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Um yeah, I have here in the note she was seen dancing and drinking with one of the band members. Alistair Douglas, he went by Yellow or goes by Yellow. I'm not sure if he still does. Um, Now three witnesses testified that they saw Amy and Yellow on the upper deck with a camera sometime between 5:30 a.m. and 5:45 a.m. Actually, the first episode of the documentary talked about one or two of those people. I think it was actually 5:30 to 6, sometime between 5:30 and 6, seeing them on the upper deck and then go up an elevator, a glass elevator. And then he came back down by himself and walked past them again or whatever. Um he came back down. He was seen alone shortly after 6 a.m. Now what's also interesting is in the Wikipedia, um supposedly her brother Brad earlier that morning before an announcement had been made. um Yellow approached Brad and said he was sorry to hear about his sister missing before any announcement had been made.
that's weird.
That is weird. I'm not, this is now that part is from the Wikipedia. I don't know if that's mentioned in the documentary. I don't know, but that is what he said. So
Mhm.
yeah, there
This guy is
are,
definitely suspicious.
yes. Um, yeah, and from what I understand, there are there are a lot of questions about this guy. There are questions even about I'll just say this. There's a lot of gray areas with this case, with the people involved in this case. Um, just in general. So it that's kind of why I'm like, okay, we're just gonna go with this damn chart. This damn chart is what we're going to look at because there are too many you know what I mean, like when things start getting kind of murky or feeling kind of murky, it's like, okay, let's go with what we know
Right.
for a fact. um but yeah, yeah, I do think that it's interesting that we've got three people saying that they saw her with him, uh 5:30 to 6.
Yeah. When I was reading those, yeah, I mean, there's just things you can't verify, but like they seem so credible, like just the details about, you know what I mean? Like how would I don't know.
No, they do. They seem credible. They don't seem batshit. um I suppose the question might, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, but the question could come into play. It was, 5:30, 6 in the morning. A lot of these people, it seemed like we're out partying.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, you're on a fucking cruise. Why the fuck not? So, it might be like questionable, like, did they see? But I don't know. When you got three people see it, thinking that they see her with him, it's kind of like, okay, this isn't just one person. This is,
It's three people.
yes,
Yeah. Three different
people.
accounts.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, okay, maybe at that point,
And he's a band member, right? Like they're gonna recognize him because these people have been clubbing and seen him on the stage. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so
yes. And people, it's interesting in the documentary, the people, not her family, who I guess in other have also kind of stated similar things, but like people that didn't know her kind of mentioned that she was like a magnet. You would notice her. She had some sort of something about her energy that you noticed. Somebody else made a comment that there weren't a whole lot of younger people on this cruise. So the people that were younger did stand out. Uh, just by virtue of, I guess, probably, cruises are I mean, cruises, I've actually never been on a cruise. The idea kind of freaks me out a little bit. But
same. Let's do an episode on that. Like, yes, I have
it,
never done one. I'm scared. You
yeah,
know?
a little bit, the idea of being, stuck. I mean, like, actually, what I do like is the idea of being able to go from place to place, like
Yeah.
island to island. I think that sounds really cool, but I don't like the idea of being on a fucking
I don't
ship.
like the germs. Like
Yeah,
that's too many people in one place. Like, you know, I
breathing
hate
the
being
same
sick. So.
recycled air and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, and I get that.
Sorry. We had to do a sidebar just to let's just get that out in the open. But yes.
But I guess there are a lot of older people that go on cruises, or they did. So somebody that was 23 stood out, right? The younger people that were younger stood out, and so I guess she stood out too, for that reason. So yeah, her being with somebody, I guess, who already stood out, being with, you know, the bassist in this band, is going to doubly stand out.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So and it also seems like there's a lot of witness reports about seeing her around Curacao the next few years. Now,
Yes, I have
one
heard.
guy's account, he totally frauded the family, but you know, there was others though that,
I have.
uh,
I
oh
have.
yeah, the guy in the brothel, the military
Yeah.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's go over that one.
Okay, well, first there was one in April or May of 1998. A cab driver in Curacao claimed to see her when the ship docked, the day it docked, on March 24th, 98. August 1998. Two Canadian divers possibly saw her on Playa Porto. I don't even know what the fuck I wrote there. A beach. Sorry, my handwriting. I don't even know what I wrote. Saw her on a beach in Curacao. They described her eyes and her tattoos accurately. Um, January 1999, U.S. Navy Petty Officer William Hefner claimed to have encountered her at a brothel in Curacao. She spoke to him, said who she was, and that she couldn't leave, was being held against her will, claimed she got off the boat to get drugs and was now trapped there. He finally reported the incident in May of 2002. By then, the brothel had burned down and there was no evidence or sign of her.
And he was afraid to report it because, he's a military member and he was in a brothel.
Yeah,
So,
people are going to be like, what the hell were you doing there?
yeah.
But, so, but he did. Should he have reported it earlier? Yes, probably. I get why he didn't, though. I
Mhm.
get why he didn't. But I also feel like he didn't have to come forward. Like he didn't have to. He could have kept it to it. He could have. Like he tried to come correct, do right. His I feel like is very just reading it feels not that the other ones aren't credible, but it just the
It
circumstance.
seemed very credible. Like, why would you come out with that later? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
exactly. You could have just stayed quiet and
Yeah. I mean it was 3 years later. He could have kept his mouth shut. He didn't have to say shit. Um but he chose to. He chose to come correct and do it. And yeah, so I think that that's interesting. Also, April 2003, potential sighting of Amy in San Francisco. I don't know about that one myself. There's something about that that seems fucky, but I don't know. Um, I don't know. And it was in San Francisco with other people like people that like essentially would have like had her. It seemed like it wasn't on the up and up, like they were holding her kind of hostage, if you will, whoever she was with. March 2005, potential sighting of Amy in a store in Barbados. In 2005, an image of a lady that looked like Amy was emailed to her parents. Looked like she may have been sold into sex slavery. FBI couldn't authenticate the photos. A man who later worked with the FBI performed facial comparisons. His opinion was that the images were of Amy. Then there was a thing you were talking about where the family was essentially the
Mhm.
person fucked him out of, just fucked them around. Um,
and was found guilty and had to repay. Like, so
yes,
yeah.
yes. I didn't even
Terrible
write that one down
people.
because it was so. I did that one. I did, but yes, that should be noted that that happened as well. Now, there's also a jawbone was found in 2010 in Aruba. No testing was done to see if Amy was a match. But the bone is of Caucasian origin. I think originally they thought it was from Natalie Holloway.
And it was tested to exclude Natalie Holloway. I don't understand because they said there was 11 other missing persons cases that could have been linked to. My next question is why wouldn't they have tested it for those people? But
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I couldn't really find, but yes, I have that question too. Why was it not? Why was it not? Now let's go back to the military one for a second. The military man sighting. Him saying she spoke to him and said that she got off the boat to get drugs and was now trapped there in the brothel. Okay, look, no judgment on this side of the screen. No judgment. No judgment at all. Um, but I look at this and I'm like, maybe it's this Neptune. I mean this Neptune here close to the ascendant in the 12th house. It's gonna make everything foggier anyway.
Yeah.
But Neptune is also intoxicants. Um, and I've been reading like okay, like everybody knows like I creep around on Reddit. Usually it's astrology sub. Usually it's like my subreddit or other astrology subreddits, but I do sometimes look at the true crime ones. There are a lot of people. there's the Netflix one where they're talking about this, the documentary, the case. I believe there's a subreddit dedicated just to her, right? And a lot of people are talking about the drug angle, like, why would she get off the boat and go do that? Why would that doesn't even make any sense? She's on a vacation with her parents. And I'm thinking, excuse me, sir, ma'am, have you known anybody that used drugs? Like, there is a part of me that's like, yeah, I mean, without even looking at the chart, you're talking about somebody who's on vacation, they're partying, they're having a good time. Maybe they don't want the party to end. Again, no judgment. I have no judgment. Um, but it's like I don't see how that's I look at them and I look at this and I'm like, that doesn't sound like it's not possible here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely got that Neptune involvement, which would rule something like that.
Yeah, it's like and I don't know if she had any kind of a history with any of that, or she didn't even have to have a history with it. Maybe she just wanted to go get a joint, or maybe I
I was gonna say it could even been like marijuana, like which
yeah,
is
it it could have been. Maybe she just wanted to go get a joint, maybe or somebody whatever. She's wanted to keep the party going. Whatever it was, she's on vacation. Again, no judgment. um, but I don't know if she had any sort of history with that or whatever. But even if she didn't, it seems like it could be possible here.
what if she went with someone to go get it?
Yeah,
Someone
it
who also was, hey, I come with me, I want to come get this. It could have been she was just along for the ride.
could have been. Yeah, it could have been. Not to mention, there are there are a lot of weird story. There are a lot of interesting stories of people on these subreddits when they about this case, whether it's a Netflix one or whatever, that talk about having strange experiences on cruise ships with people that work on them.
Yikes.
I seriously, if anybody's interested, go to like the Netflix subreddit and look this stuff up, or look at like the Amy Bradley subreddit or what true crime ones. People do leave their own stories, their own accounts of being on cruise ships. There are a few that were actually on this ship, not this particular time, but the same ship like 2 months before,
Mm,
like 2 months after.
yeah.
And the creepy shit. I feel like I'm talking shit about this. about I'm not trying to. This is stuff that I've read though. Um, wouldn't surprise me if it was true. But it's
Yeah.
like it just sounds like crew like
I think anytime you get a lot of people together and especially tourism, like tourists, like it's just targets and
and you're also talking about a place that's in international waters where
yeah.
there's no real law, right? You on inter like well, uh yeah.
Yep.
So it does seem like it's ripe for, I don't know, things to happen. What do we think about, because technically authorities here off the bat, right? Obviously the FBI got involved.
Hmm.
Um, Either that same day or the next day, they did get involved. I can't remember if it was the same day or the next day, but they did get involved. But before that, we would have been talking about just security on the ship.
What do we think about them?
Yeah, what do we think about them? And I'll say there's something that kind of bothers me about
Yeah.
this Scorpio, and it's not the fact that it's Scorpio, but the fact that that interference you mentioned, right? Pluto rules modern ruler of Scorpio, and Mars traditional ruler.
Hmm.
Both there's some I don't know. I don't know. I don't like it.
Right. There, well, Mars is very strongly placed being in Aries. So there's kind of like, I mean, you could take this so many ways. Like there's either the upper hand or you could say it has more of a militant vibe. Um, or it's just stronger. So they have more power here, maybe. Um, yeah, the fact that it's
It bothers me.
Yeah. Now it's closer to Saturn than the sun, but just looking at the chart, it's kind of sitting there in the same house with the sun, which shows a pairing, or maybe being on a side. I don't know if I'm going too far with that, but um, you know, the sun likes Mars. Mars likes the sun here. It could, like Saturn too, I guess. But
I'm gonna go as I'm gonna I'm gonna say, I'm gonna be careful how I say it.
hmm,
Um, I would, okay, at the very least, this is showing that the fact that they didn't sound the alarm earlier
mhm.
plays very heavily into this. At the very least.
I think just Pluto being in the 10th, Pluto likes to keep things under the surface.
Yes.
Just gives you a hint of that. But yeah, there's definitely something. Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is there could have maybe been more information if things were done a different way, of course.
Yes. And yes. Yeah. I've got yeah, I guess I'm going to stop saying anything about.
I'll say this though. I always look at like how, the planets, what they think about the other planets based on the sign. Saturn doesn't like Mars here. Saturn's not going to like anything in Aries,
No.
which Saturn is Amy,
Yes. Which
which shows there's nothing helpful here for her, right? Like
no, there's nothing helping her. It's all against.
it's
It's
all on the Leo side, on the sun side.
it is. Should we look at fixed stars?
Yes. I got my book right here.
I actually didn't look ahead of time to see if there to see what was around each thing.
We get asked, this is Kirsty McIntosh's criminal astrology book. She has a list of the fixed stars. I just always like to, because every now and then we get asked, like, what are you looking at?
Yes, it's an important thing to throw out there.
I'm going to start with Aries because,
Which one?
well, I was trying to see if there's anything around 20 degrees. There is a 21 degrees. It's about a degree off.
Okay.
Isolation, depression, accidents, immigration, shipwrecks. Unfortunate for Saturn. So this is on the traditional ruler of Amy.
So she's
It does say accidents. I mean, that's something like I'm not feeling like this is a very accidenty chart, but you have to look at that, right?
yeah, it is interesting that it would come up saying um let's see here. I'll see about is there one near the sun?
Yeah, there's a 2 degrees, 35 minutes. I think that's close enough. Laziness, self-destruction, nervousness, illness, inhibitions, loss.
It's unfortunate for Saturn.
Yes.
Now, obviously, we're talking about the sun here, but I wonder if this could be like I wonder if how this could mean here is like because this she's like it's unfortunate for her that
I
this
would totally like latch onto that. Yes.
um
There is a 14 degrees, 18 minutes. So we're looking at Mars, which would be the ruler of the 10th house,
mhm.
uh, and ruler of that third house as well. So authorities, that would be grace, popularity, independence, and honors.
That's interesting.
Hmm.
That's an interesting one to. Okay. Let's see about the moon and Uranus.
There's an 11 degree right there.
There is 11:43, so it'd be like very close to Uranus and within a degree of both the moon and the ascendant. It is danger, persecution, and even death, but also said to give good fortune.
That's
Interesting.
quite a contrast.
Yes, it is.
Giant persecution, but good fortune. Like,
It is very much a contrast. Yeah, I actually, I'm not really sure what to make of that, quite honestly. Because that is quite a contrast. What about that 10-degree Leo ascendant? Oh, there is. There's one at 10 degrees, 20 minutes of Leo. Penetrating and analytical mind, travel and many friends, craft, ingenuity, and valor, but danger of robbery and accidental poisoning. Now, robbery is interesting here,
mhm.
especially with the second house, with this being in the second house, right? And I realize we were talking
Abduction.
about abductions, but you can totally,
Yep.
an abduction is kind of like being robbed, right? You're robbing
It
somebody
is.
of their
Yeah.
free will, of their autonomy, of their. So that's interesting.
Hmm.
What about Pluto?
Let's see.
The one that-
We have a 9 degree, 46 minutes. I think that's kind of far, especially with Pluto being so slow moving, you know.
Yeah, it probably is. It probably is.
It does say violence on the 9 degrees, but I mean, Pluto is violence, you know, like,
It is. Speaking of, well, speaking of, let's see. That midheaven.
the 19-degree
There,
Scorpio.
there is night at oh, actually there's one at 1923. There's one at 19 and one at 1923.
Oh,
The one
1923 is almost right on.
it is. Honors, wealth, distinction, brilliant mind, success in sports, politics, war, religion, writing, tragedy, violence. It is fortunate for Jupiter, Mercury, and Mars, which I feel like would give this even more like
More power,
more power. And
more
it's
oomph.
exactly more oomph, and it's already like domicile. We're at home
Yeah.
here. Um, okay, so and saying all of this,
Is this opinion time?
well, I was gonna say we should map it.
Yeah.
Do we, or do you
Let's
think
map it.
you
And
think
then,
there's a reason to map it?
yeah, I
Okay.
do.
Okay.
I don't think she died. I mean, you map when you're looking for anyone dead or alive, but um, yeah, I'm curious where Curacao lands.
Okay. Well, Chris, okay, and
Or are
like
you mapping from Curacao?
no, I'm not. I'm mapping. Okay,
Okay.
so I was okay, so at 3:40 a.m., they were still a little ways out from
Okay.
they would have been closer in by 6, and then by 7 they docked. So I have it a little ways out at 3:40 just because and I didn't really feel like there was a point to doing the radius
Mm-hmm.
just because at this point it's not like it just yeah, it didn't seem necessary. But where um what would you map from here?
Definitely the Ascendant. We want to
Okay.
see what direction, because sometimes, when especially when someone's abducted and they're being carried away, I feel like the Ascendant a lot of times can follow that path.
Okay. Haven't we also talked about the IC2 before?
Oh, as far as mapping,
Uh-huh.
you could, and also maybe Saturn. Although I don't know in this one if I would be really following Saturn because I feel like she's alive when,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. No, I know what you mean. Okay, so we've got 10 degrees. I
But
mean,
we could follow it and see where it goes, right? Like just
and bear with scribble maps because while it's a delightful tool, it's also a pain in the fucking ass. Uh,
like you just barely do something, it messes it all.
yes, it
It's a great
does.
tool though.
And you're like, God damn it. Um,
It kills your enlightenment.
okay, so the bearing here. Now, keep in mind this. Okay, so we'll put it like that, right? Like 310, right?
Mm-hmm. And
Okay,
this would be the 10-degree Aquarius.
yes. Now, keep in mind though, right? Like if you were to put it closer to there, that would also change it a little bit, right? Put the marker
Right.
in, okay? Was it this? Wait, shit. No, that was
This
right.
is what we mean.
Yeah, it's like fuck. Well, I guess it doesn't change it that much. Yeah, a little bit.
Kind of pitch it a little bit more north
So
east.
yeah, that's where the I mean, regardless, you're talking about like over here, kind of more towards Aruba.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's like here, I'll zoom out so everybody can see. Um, so these are the ABC islands. I can't remember what the B one is called, but then that's kind of where so everybody can see. Um, should we do should we do the icy?
Yeah, yeah, we should. So that would be what, 49 degrees?
Yes. 49.
Okay.
We'll just see that's going to be more towards that way and towards the
That would take you more towards Curacao,
let's see.
the northwestern part of it, right? Like
Let's see here. Let's go. Do, 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 do. Okay, so doing it from here. Oh shit.
that
Yeah.
puts you right there on the island.
And then if you were to do it, yeah, it would. Ah. So yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
and this is the other thing about scribble maps. I wish I could make the lines longer, but once you like draw them like that, you can't. If you zoom out too much, it's like hard to get it on the marker. So
Right.
trying to get the idea that it's moving this way, that would be because she was also supposedly seen over here in Barbados.
Barbados. Yeah.
Are there any other?
Mm. No, I mean, I'm not drawn towards any other lines, I think.
I mean, the one I will say, the one here, and also it's interesting, the ruler of the IC Venus is, I mean,
Yeah,
it's up here with all of this.
it is.
So yeah, I mean, that kind of makes it make even, I mean, more of a possibility in this one. And most of the sightings of her were in Curacao.
Or Barbados, more of that direction going east,
Except for that bone that was found in
which
Aruba.
it washed ashore, right? Like,
It washed ashore.
okay.
Which would have been more, I don't know where exactly in Aruba, but it would have been, that way.
Right. So I don't know, not to get like graphic here, but like if she had fallen off the ship, like which is it known which way the currents would have really
In the documentary, this is something that I did see in the first episode. The person, I can't remember what his name was, but he was like law enforcement essentially in Curacao. Said that the currents, if she had fallen off of the boat or jumped, decided to take her own life, the way the currents were going, more than likely, what she would have washed up on the shore of Curacao. Uh,
Oh, not Aruba. It would have been.
yes,
Hi.
just the way that the currents, and he also made the comment, he was like, there are sharks, we have sharks, but something would have washed up. That's a horrifying thing to think about, but essentially, the way that he said it, I kind of got the feeling that that had perhaps been a thing he'd witnessed. Um, so yeah, the way the currents are at that time of year, the weather, the wind, all of that, it would have pushed her more than likely on their coast.
Got it. Okay.
Is this the part where we give our thoughts?
This is the part where we give our disclaimer that anything said is the opinion of Brandy and Ellie and should not be taken as fact. But
Very good thing to state.
and I'm just laughing at myself on that
Yes.
because
Oh yeah,
um,
that's another thing. We do laugh, we do joke. We are not in no way, shape, or form laughing at her as
no, this makes me angry because I have an opinion of maybe what have happened to her based on the astrology, and it makes me very angry.
yeah, I do too. Huh. Yeah. We are in no way laughing at her though, or at the pain that her family and loved ones and friends have felt in no way, shape, or form.
Right. Do you want to go first or
Go.
okay? I really think, based on the astrology, just looking at the astrology here and what I'm putting together, that in this chart, this is a case of sex trafficking, because of the Mars Mercury sandwich, I will call it, being sandwiched between Saturn and the Sun, the victim and perpetrator, if there is one in this case. And then along with the moon and Uranus, although it can be a planet that represents accidents, it can also be a planet that represents groups of people, especially being in Aquarius. And so I'm feeling like there's a network, a group here. We got the markers of things to do with sex. And then just the South Node and Jupiter being right there in the first house.
And Jupiter also being the ruler of the 11th.
Yes, that Jupiter is a planet that represents foreign countries or, and just anytime we're looking at a chart of someone missing, I just don't like seeing the South Node in the first house,
Yeah.
and so I don't know, with all these factors, I'm thinking, and of course, what we talked about, like the sun and Mars being in the second house, and some of the fixed stars showing like, robbery, abduction. I feel like she is abducted, and I'm really worried that could have happened to her. That she was put into sex trafficking based on the chart.
Somehow either like being lured off the boat under false pretenses or actually being taken off the boat. I could see either one of those being the case here. I'm not really sure if it was like she was taken off without wanting to go off, or if it was something like, oh, I'm gonna go off and go get some joints or whatever. Whatever.
The third house makes me think she walked off the boat willingly, with someone, like you said, maybe she was lured or, let's go do this and we'll go back, but then at some point it goes wrong.
Yeah. 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 Do you do you think that anything's ever found? Do you think, because and I bring this up because I guess, and I have not seen the last episode of the documentary, but I guess So, and somebody that watching this, if you know what I'm talking about and you want to leave in the comments, because I'm going to butcher this, but something like an IP address hits a website that I think the parents run on a birthday, and it's kind of giving it's sort of giving some sort of idea that she might still be alive. I don't know. Again, I did not watch the last episode, so I don't even know if I'm getting that accurate. I maybe shouldn't have said anything, but when we look,
27 years, right? Like, but based on this to me gives a lot of credibility to the sightings, that she was at least alive for a while.
Mhm.
That no, there's no like that's my opinion here. Could she be found? Um, the moon and Uranus, so taking the modern ruler and the moon, the co-ruler of her, being right there on the ascendant, there's some light, right? Like there's a luminary that can be visible. It's a little bit under it, but it's still there where you're going to see some light. Because these are the horizons. And so
yeah,
you can think of it as like the moon or sun. If it's right on the horizon, it might be dark outside, but you can still see that film of light. So that tells me there's hope. Maybe it might be difficult because the sun is at the bottom of the chart and the moon's right there. But um I can't I'm not it's not one where I'm looking at going, oh no, she'll never be found. No, I think there's possibility.
possibility that she
Or at least getting closure.
there's something about the that brothel supposedly burning down in that guy's, when they went to look, it was gone. There's something about that bothers me.
Mm,
Um, I definitely think whatever happened to her, she was alive for, I just wonder. Yeah, yeah.
I think she could be found either way.
And I hope she is. I
Yeah.
hope, or at the very least, if for some reason she didn't want to be found at this point, who knows? Who knows? People go through traumas and who knows, but hopefully at least if she doesn't want to be found, um if she were alive and doesn't want to be found for some reason, the family can at least get some sort of closure, like, I don't know. I
Okay.
hope there's closure in some way for them, because that is a long fucking time to not. I can't imagine. I
Yeah.
cannot imagine, even begin to imagine what that must be like to have a child. I mean, I've got my child, my son, but I can't imagine what it would be like to go 27 years and not know where the fuck he was or what the
I would
fuck happened.
go crazy. Like it would make me, yeah. I do know they had her declared dead. I think in
2010.
2010. Okay, yeah.
It was on March 24th of 2010. They had her declared dead.
Yeah. That doesn't give you closure though. I really hope they get the closure they need
I do too.
and I think there's hope for that based on this chart for sure.
I think there probably is. Is there anything else you want to share about this?
No, I think I pretty much gave all my thoughts. I'm gonna go watch the documentary now.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish. Yeah, I'm gonna finish. It's been such a busy couple of weeks. I haven't had a chance. It's been like on my
Yeah.
radar. And before we did this day, I was like, okay, you're gonna watch the first episode at least. So, well, anyway, Brandy, where can you be found?
Thank you. Brandyburrowastrology.com or on YouTube, Brandy Burrow Tarot and Astrology. And there's new um, content coming soon. It's on my calendar. So you can go over there and get tarot readings and just hear my thoughts about things.
Go
What
check it
about you, Ellie? Yes,
out.
please.
You can find me here on YouTube at Saturn Season Astrology. Also on Instagram at Saturn Season Astrology. My website is saturnseason.com. And you can check out the subreddit, Let's Fuck with Astrology. You'll find me, Little Miss Whoops, leaving a little comment sprinkled around. And thank you to everybody that has joined. It's like over 18,000 now. I'm very,
Wow,
yeah,
congratulations.
for real. Thank you. Yeah, I'm like watching this. I'm like, where in the fuck is everybody coming from? Like, fuck yeah. So thank you all, anybody that's joined. I appreciate you very much. And to everybody watching this, we will see you later.
Big hugs.